Welcome to a meeting of your Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Representing District 1, Sandra Merman. Representing District 2, Ken Hagan. Representing District 3, Les Miller. Representing District 4, Stacy White. Representing District 5, Mariella Smith. Representing District 6, Pat Kemp. Representing District 7, Kimberly Overman. The County Administrator is Mike Merrill. The County Attorney is Christine Beck. Time is set aside at the beginning of each meeting for citizens to speak on any issue. So we have time for everyone. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Today's meeting is brought to you with closed captioning by Hillsborough Television.
Good morning and welcome to your Board of County Commissioners meeting. I call this meeting to order. We're going to have the presentation of the colors by the Plant High School Joyner JROTC Color Guard, followed by the National Anthem performed by Cadet Delaney Lewis, the Pledge of Allegiance and the retiring of the colors, and the invocation be given by our Chaplain, Commissioner White. You must remain standing for all of it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll hand it over to Colonel Taylor for the presentation of colors.
Plant High School, present the colors.
Present all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now have the invocation. Please bow our heads. Heavenly Father, I thank you for these young people that are here today to showcase their leadership abilities and their various talents. I thank you for those current and former members of the armed forces that are with us here today. Lord, I pray that you will guide this board, our staff, and stakeholders as we do important business for this county this morning. And as always, I pray for both our armed forces and our first responders, and pray that you will guide them, keep them safe each and every day. I ask for all of these blessings in your heavenly name. Amen.
Hold up. All. Mark time. Up, right. Hey. Up, forward, up. Up, 2, 3, 4. Forward, all.
You may be seated. We have 3 proclamations and 1 commendation. We're going to start with the proclamation, 2 proclamations by Commissioner Stacy White.
Well, I don't know about you, but seeing these young people here in uniform and just hearing that wonderful rendition of the national anthem just sends chills down my spine. It's great to see these outstanding young people here today, and have a tradition that I started just last year, I believe, and we're planning to do this annually, and that is to recognize JROTC month here in Hillsborough County. That's a very important program in our school system that builds leadership skills. Some of those students will go on to have careers in the military, others won't, but regardless, certainly an incredibly important program for our young people. So at this time, I would like to invite some special guests up here with me. We have Colonel Sam Taylor, the JROTC District Resource Teacher with the school district. Dr. Andrea Beverly, JROTC School District Supervisor. From Brandon High School, we have Lieutenant Colonel Donald Gunn. Cadet Gita Goldberg, the Battalion Commander. Cadet Reva Goldberg, Battalion Executive Officer. Cadet Christian Mahika, Battalion Operations Officer. From Durant High School, we have Command Master Sergeant Andrew Johnson. Cadet Brianna Hayes, that's Corps Commander. Cadet Riley Walker, Deputy Corps Commander. Last year's Durant High School Cadet of the Year, Cadet Jackson Smith. First Sergeant Eric Bowman, and that's from Freedom High School. Cadet Keith Cassidy, also from Freedom, that's the Battalion Assistant Administrative Officer. Cadet Jose Tepatate, that's the Battalion Command Master Chief from Freedom High School. From Plant High School, we have Lieutenant Colonel Calvin Mason. Cadet Delaney Lewis, and that was our national anthem singer this morning. Cadet Jacob Sinot, Color Guard. Cadet Sidney Best, Color Guard. Cadet Tatiana Ayala, Color Guard. And Cadet George Merritt, Color Guard. And from Steinbrenner High School, we have Sergeant Major Justin Abramo, Cadet Max Beckley, Battalion Commander, Cadet Jada Markison, Battalion Executive Officer, and Cadet Sean Richburg, Battalion Command Sergeant Major. And I think we're going to manage them in small groups, as I understand it. But Colonel, if you'd like to just come stand with me for the reading of the proclamation, I'll get it read into the record, and then we'll manage that process. So we have a proclamation that reads, whereas established by Congress in 1916, the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps is sponsored by the United States Armed Service and based in schools across the nation and on military bases around the world. And whereas commonly referred to as JROTC, the program represents the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps. And whereas with a mission of motivating young people to be better citizens, The program prepares cadets to lead positive, productive, and rewarding lives by teaching personal responsibility, enhancing leadership skills, and enabling them to learn the value of teamwork. And whereas every year, more than 5,000 students in Hillsborough County Public Schools participate in JROTC programs offered in 27 high schools throughout the county. And whereas these programs receive strong support from the Hillsborough County School District, elected officials, and civic, business, and military organizations, encouragement that is essential to their continued success. And whereas the top 10 cadets in Hillsborough County JROTC are identified each year through a comprehensive process that requires an essay entitled "How JROTC is Preparing Me to Achieve My Goals in Life," a rigorous academic record, exemplary community service, letters of recommendation, and a selection board, and one is honored as Hillsborough County Cadet of the Year. Whereas Hillsborough County salutes the JROTC programs of Brandon High School, Chamberlain High School, Durant High School, Freedom High School, Gaither High School, Lato High School, Newsom High School, Plant High School, Sickles High School, and Steinbrenner High School, all of which achieved a top 10 cadet in the 2018-19 school year. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare November 2019 as JROTC month in Hillsborough County and encourages all residents to support the JROTC programs in Hillsborough County as they continue developing future leaders and shaping productive lives. It's executed today, the 6th of May, signed by all the commissioners. Would you like to say a few words?
Very few.
Okay.
I'd like to thank the commissioners again for taking the time to do this. Anybody that looks at the media reports know that you are dealing with a lot of complicated issues. And in my estimation, you're doing an outstanding job. But I also know that you have other things that you need to do, so we're going to do this quickly. What we have are 5 schools represented of the top 10 from last year. And our intent is to do 2 things. Have a group picture with just the cadets and the commissioner with all of the commissioners in the background who graciously signed the proclamation. And each one of the schools receives one of these to take back and put on their wall to demonstrate what the commissioners think of JROTC. And after that group picture, I will quickly have them come up and take a picture by school, all of the cadets from each school, so that'll be 5 pictures that we would like to take, and then we'll get out of the commissioner's way so they can take care of the business at hand. But once again, thank you so much.
This is everybody now?
This is
Stacy,
everybody.
Squeeze in, we have to turn sideways.
You can tell. Yep, you sure can.
So just like the curves I should deal with on a daily basis. Back up a little bit, there you go, yeah.
All right, let's have the cadets from Brandon remain. Everybody else go back to the staging position. And we'd like to have the commissioner with the proclamation. And,
Ribbons.
Those are beautiful.
the ramps next. All right, Durant.
Thank you.
Yeah, yours is outside. Freedom.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And Clement.
Thank you. Thank you. He's gonna need this.
Commissioner White, we want to thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner White, we want to thank you for doing that. What's the Colonel's name again? Colonel Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you for organizing this. We appreciate it. Your voice sounds like those colonels I used to deal with back in the 70s when I was in the Air Force. It just brought back memories. I'm like, okay.
Got it.
They were positive memories.
They were. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel.
Right. It's all mine, that's for sure.
Okay, and I have the honor of presenting a second special proclamation this morning, and I'd like to invite some special guests up to the podium. We have Dennis Carlton Sr., Dennis Carlton Jr., Judy Whitson, Michelle Williamson, and I think we have some staff here as well, Lindsay Kimball with our Economic Development Department, and Simon Boland with Economic Development. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Judy, hello. Good to see you. Good morning. Hey, Lindsay. Good morning. So I also, hey, Simon, how are you? So I also get to kick off Farm City Week this morning, and I'll jump right into this proclamation. It reads, whereas Florida farmers and ranchers help feed the world by producing a bounty of nutritious foods, relying on partnerships with urban and suburban communities to reach consumers across the state, nation, and globe. And whereas agriculture and related enterprises employ more than 2 million Floridians, including farmers, ranchers, shippers, processors, and retailers, who contribute an annual impact of $127 billion to Florida's economy. And whereas Hillsborough County was Florida's 4th largest agriculture producing county, as determined by the 2017 United States Department of Agriculture Census of Agriculture. And whereas agriculture in Hillsborough County carries significant economic impacts, including generating more than 170,000 jobs, $11.76 billion in gross regional product, and a return of $20 for every dollar invested. And whereas farmers and ranchers protect freshwater recharge areas, wildlife habitat, and green space, and consumers help farm families maintain these natural resource conservation practices by buying agricultural products. And whereas since 2001, the Florida Farm Bureau has recognized the conservation practices of farmers and ranchers through its County Alliance for Responsible Environmental Stewardship program, also known as CARES. And whereas this year's Hillsborough County CARES recipient is Jose and Zaya Cruz, owners of Cruz Nursery in Plant City, who take meticulous care in their operations to protect local natural resources, including drinking water, which they stress everyone needs for prosperity and sustainability. And whereas established in 1955 by Kiwanis International, Farm City Week celebrates these achievements and other collaborative efforts by Floridians whose hard work and ingenuity provide us with an abundance of food. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare November 20th through November 27th, 2019 as Farm City Week in Hillsborough County, and encourages residents to thank all who play a role in the agricultural industry to put food on tables, provide jobs, and protect natural resources. It's dated today, signed by all the commissioners. I'm sure one of you would like to say a few words. All right. Thank you. You bet.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you for this opportunity to address the board today on behalf of Hillsborough County Farm Bureau and the agricultural community. I am Dennis Carlton, Jr., County President of Farm Bureau. I am active in a diverse agriculture family agribusiness ranging from cow-calf operations to leasing farmland for strawberry production. Today we want to recognize a few of the farm families that have had a major impact on keeping our local farms a place of environmental stewardship. Farm Bureau advocates on behalf of the farm families at all levels, local, state, and national, by supporting programs and policies that will help the farmers and ranchers prosper. Our goal as a Farm Bureau is to be the voice for agriculture and to provide strong representation to all stages of government. The local impact that the agricultural community provides to Hillsborough County is substantial. The overall economic impact of ag and related businesses, as compiled just 2 years ago by the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences in our county, includes: Hillsborough County has 2,265 farms, the third largest number of any county, Commissioner, according to UF, in the state, and 49th in the whole country. Hillsborough County ranks as the third largest producer of agricultural products in the state. We are in the top 3% of agricultural counties in the country. Hillsborough County has an estimated 239,358 acres in agricultural production, representing approximately 37% of the county's land area. Finally, Hillsborough County has contributed to the sale of $865 million of agricultural products. Farm City Week is important to the urban citizens of this county, displaying how vital ag is to this area. Today we want to recognize these local farms and ranches that have received the Farm Bureau Cares Award. The County Alliance for Responsible Environmental Stewardship Program, or CARES, was created in 2001 to publicly recognize these Florida ag businesses that demonstrate efforts to protect our natural resources and environment. It is important to note that 1/3 of our state land mass and green spaces is in the working hands of farmers and ranchers. So it is our duty to recognize the work and role they play on both county and state level. In Hillsborough County alone, we have recognized 35 different operations for the Farm Bureau Cares Program Award. I believe we all agree on the importance of environmental stewardship to our community and county and the important role that it plays. In closing, I would like to personally thank the Commission for this opportunity to recognize a few of these award recipients and all they contribute to Hillsborough County. At this time, I would like to ask Dennis Carlton Sr., a recipient of the CARES Award, to come say a few words. Thank you for your time, and may God bless.
On behalf of the Carlton family, I'm delighted to be able to speak to you today about the CARES Awards. The CARES program was created to publicly recognize Florida farmers and ranchers who demonstrate exemplary efforts to protect Florida's natural resources by implementing best management practices, which are BMPs. As a past recipient of the 2 CARES Awards, one for Carlton and Carlton Ranch, the other for the Audubon Ranch, we recognize the importance of the BMPs. Carlton and Carlton is a family-owned operation here in Central Florida that is headquartered here in the Hillsborough County. It's made up of leased and owned farmland that is owned by our family. The second operation is Audubon Ranch, and the reality of that is that CARES Award is not only the Carlton family award, but also Hillsborough County's award. We lease what is known as the Lower Green Swamp Preserve from Hillsborough County and have for a long time. It is our responsibility to be the stewards of your land, the county land, the green swamp land, and we take that very seriously. And therefore, I feel like, you all are a part of that, and we have that responsibility. As part of the BMPs, I'd like to discuss very briefly exactly what we have to do. Some of the things that we have to do and that are really important and part of the BMP are soil testing. We take soil samples each year from each pasture, send those off to the lab there in Gainesville, and receive back a report that gives us the pH, gives us what the phosphorus content is of the soil, the potash, magnesium, and from that we know what we need to put in our fertilizers. And the interesting part about it, and you hear a lot about phosphorus, in the last 10 years we've had to put no phosphorus in the fertilizer at all because the soil samples show that naturally in Florida there's a lot of phosphate anyway, as you all know, and in a pasture situation it's not that intensive, therefore we don't need to do that. Invasive species are always a problem. Every day in Miami there's either a python coming in or a psyllid, and those are things that we just have to deal with, and we take that responsibility very seriously also. Herbicide is a large part of our budget, both on Carlton and Audubon, to keep the invasive species down, and that's a never-ending battle. I mean, you have to continually do that. One of the things that happened has been a real positive for us with the CARES, it shows that we follow the BMPs, and when you do that, you have the opportunity to do some cost sharing. Several years ago, we had a washout that was going to end up being in the creek in Hardy County, but we were able to cost share that and repair that so that we could take care of that issue. And those are important things to us. The other things that come into mind is a solar system that we've got the Audubon Ranch, which is the cone or green swamp, on the north end. That was a cost share item. There's other things that we've done, piping water and those kinds of things that we didn't cost share that we've just done in order to give good clean water to the cattle. Each BMPs are different. You've got them for each different commodity. Strawberry has one, blueberries will have one, pasture have one, etc. So they're not all the same. One other thing that I'd like to share with you is each year the Commissioner of Agriculture awards the Ag Environmental Leadership Award. We won that award in 2015. The Carlton family and part of that was the Audubon Ranch and the CNC Ranch. That recognized the environmental farming techniques, innovative farming techniques for Florida ranchers and farmers. And part of that award compromised some of the things that we had done. One of the things that we had done through a cost share, we had an issue with an orange grove that died because of the greening, and we're able to convert that to a high-value crop, strawberries, without pumping any frost freeze protection out of the ground. We did that with surface water, and we're able to do that, and we do that through these BMPs. Another thing that we have done is that was a BMP issue. Well, this was not, but it was a land restoration issue that we had done about 10 years ago. We converted 1,200 acres of phosphate land through the old land reclamation and made it a pasture, created 123 acres of wetlands that put a conservation easement on there on Highway 60. So all of these things that we do for the environment. And I would suggest to you, if you wanted to see the Audubon Ranch, the Cone Ranch, the Lower Green Swamp, whatever you like to call it, the Commissioner of Agriculture did a video at that time, and we've got tremendous amount of good footage on the Cone Ranch. We've got the cattle being driven, we've got the cypress domes, all of the wildlife, and it was a real nice video. And I would suggest that if you wanted to look at it, just go on that Commissioner's website and look under environmental awards, and you can push it and look at it. But it's something that you, as the owners of the Cone Ranch, should be proud of. And I thank you for your time.
Okay, we'll get this presented and take the photograph. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Paul.
There's a presentation. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Hey, how are you? No farmers, no food. That's a good point. Thank you. Hey, it's great to see you.
Thank you. Fine, how are you? The next proclamation will be presented by Commissioner Merman.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm always so pleased every year to present this proclamation for Small Business Saturday. Our community would not be a success without its small business and our budding entrepreneurs. This county is committed to being a strong supporter of them. As you know, over 80% of the businesses here in Hillsborough County have 10 or fewer employees. And I mean, it's a fact. We financially support incubators, accelerators, education partners, other resources to help entrepreneurs be successful through access to capital, mentors, and training. The county's Entrepreneurial Collaborative Center, which is home to more than 85 partners, providing more than 14,000 points of assistance, and center of the entrepreneurial community, has become the center of gravity for anyone looking to start or grow their business here in Hillsborough County. We have small business owners, Del Rabinowitz and Greg Rabinowitz of Urban E-Recycling with us here today. I'd like to ask them to come up and join me. They have utilized the services of the County Small Business Development Center team at the Entrepreneurial Collaborative Center and have experienced great growth creating jobs in our community. And of course, that's really the outcome that we all search for. And we're just happy to be honoring a locally grown green business. And now I'll read the proclamation. I'd like to ask Lindsay Kimball to also come up. It says, whereas according to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are 30.2 million small businesses in the United States, representing 99.9% of all businesses with employees in the country. Whereas small businesses are responsible for 65.9% of net new jobs created over the past 7 years and employ 47% of the nation's private sector workers. Whereas advocacy groups and public and private organizations across the United States, including AARP, the American Booksellers Association, American Express, and FedEx, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. And whereas Hillsborough County celebrates local businesses that create jobs, boost the economy, and preserve neighborhoods. Whereas Urban E-Recycling has been a client of the Florida Small Business Development Center at Hillsborough County since August 2014, beginning with 2 full-time and 2 part-time employees, and now having 22 full-time employees and 1 part-time employee serving Hillsborough County. Great measure of success. Whereas Urban E-Recycling specializes in data destruction and electronics recycling that includes computers, cell phones, laptops, telecom systems, and other office electronics. The company ensures that electronics are recycled safely, ethically, and responsibly, and are currently handling 3 million pounds of electronic waste a year. Wow. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare November 30th, 2019 as Small Business Saturday in Hillsborough County, urges residents and visitors to support small businesses and merchants on this special occasion and throughout the year. And I'm so proud to present this to you as not just users of our Entrepreneurial Collaborative Center, but as a small, very successful small business here in our community. I'd love for you to say a few words.
Thank you for this. It's such an honor to be recognized as a woman-owned small business. I want to, of course, thank my husband and partner. He's very strong where I'm the weakest. And SBDC, they've been a wonderful help to us. They kept us on track. And between our team of 22, we try to do the best to dispose of electronics the best way we can and destroy data. And just thank you very much. I just want to remind you, it's, Mother Nature doesn't want your old computers, but we do.
Great. Let's take a photo. Do you want to say something?
Hold on. Commissioner Merman.
Hillsborough County is by far the most welcoming, centralized, available place to start a business. The resources, we brag all the time when people say, you know, how did you do it? Besides the whole luck and hard work and sweat, the resources, the support of the commission, the councils, the SBDC. When you start a business, you don't think about a lot of stuff. You just do what you're going to do. And then when you run into stuff, what do we do now? So the support from the community, the government, the localities has been a massive, massive part of our success. And I just want to thank a science teacher back in 8th grade that told me that if I could ever find a job and a career breaking things, I'll be okay. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. And that's what we do with my great partner. We just break stuff all day, and we love it. Thank you.
Commissioner Merman. Commissioner Kipp, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just want to say a big shout out to Urban E. You all, I hadn't noticed or hadn't known of the big growth curve that you're on, but I'm not surprised you picked an innovative and wonderful thing to do that I think is a real benefit to the community, to not be filling our landfills and everything else or burning all that, but actually reusing some of it and really processing it and doing what we can with it. So thank you so much. I think it's really important work.
Well, I want to say one more thing. I know it's, Florida has paid out millions of dollars for data breaches, and our goal is to keep Hillsborough County out of that statistic.
As a small business owner myself that has actually used your services, thank you very much. I can't be more proud of your success, and thank you for bringing this up, because it is the success of our small businesses that makes Hillsborough County just an awesome place to be and thrive and work. So thank you so much for what you've done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Does it fall down? It's great to see you.
Unfortunately, we run out of time. We can't do the next commendation. She missed that. She's talking. I said, unfortunately, we run out of time, so we can't do the next commendation. No, I'm just kidding. Commissioner Kipp, you recognized.
We are so pleased to have you here this morning, Senator Arthenia Joyner, the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners, and I'd like you to come up here with me. If you could join me here. Thank you. The Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners is pleased to recognize Senator Arthenia Joyner as she celebrates 50 years of practicing law. 50 years young, right? Becoming the longest practicing black female lawyer in Florida's history, a remarkable achievement in a trailblazing career. Born in Lakeland and raised in Tampa, Senator Joyner was admitted to practice law in Florida 50 years ago this past June, after graduating from the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University College of Law. In the Jim Crow era, no employer was willing to give her a chance to practice her chosen profession. So Senator Joyner, displaying the fierce determination that fueled her fight against segregation, started her own law firm. She became Florida's 5th black woman lawyer, the first black woman to practice law in Hillsborough County, and the first black lawyer in Polk County. In addition, Senator Joyner was the first black woman attorney to serve in the Florida Senate, the first black woman elected to the Florida House of Representatives, and the Florida Senate from Tampa, serving 6 and 10 years respectively. While serving in the Senate, she was the first black woman elected Democratic Minority Leader, where she championed the needs of the most vulnerable and passed legislation to compensate wrongfully incarcerated people. The prohibition on shackling of incarcerated pregnant females, the Infant Health Care Act, the Task Force on Human Trafficking, and the Lead, Poison, and Prevention Education Act, among other legislation, such important things that you have championed. Senator Joyner's legal career continues as of counsel at Vanguard Attorneys in Tampa. And the Board of County Commissioners is very proud here of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby commend Senator Arthenia L. Joyner for her extraordinary legal career that spans 50 years and thanks her for her service and wishes her continued success. Thank you so much. Please say a few words. Welcome.
I've learned a lot about agriculture today. First, thank you so much, Commissioner Kemp. We met back in the legislature in 2000 when she and Rose were aides to Representative Sarah Romeo. So we go back 20 years to say. However, the chairman, who said that the commendation would not be made this morning, the young man whom I know as a little boy that I used to babysit. So, hey, don't forget that, Commissioner Miller. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes, he was, I was trying to remember if he had remembered what we taught him. Treat people the way you want to be treated, so you better watch it less. But no, that was a wonderful time in my life. I want to thank my family for being here. I want to thank the Board of County Commissioners for giving me this commendation, and I want to thank my parents for instilling in me that to whom much is given, much is required. And my father would often say, and much is expected because you are my daughter. My mom said, always stand up for what you believe in, even if you're the only one. And those principles have guided me during my lifetime, and serving the people has been a joy, and I hope to continue, but I don't know whether it'll be another 50 years, but I've been blessed to have had, to have been gifted by God with the ability to practice law and to continue to have good health and strength, and I'm so happy and pleased that you and the board chose this opportunity to recognize me for my 50 years of endurance in the practice of law. Thank you.
Before we take a picture, I've known Senator Joyner all my life. She was right. She used to babysit me. My late sister, and Senator Joyner in the same class from the old Middleton High School. I have a burn on my hand when I was playing with them when I should not have been, and this burn on my hand came from my hand hitting a heater. Guess who pushed my hand on the heater? Senator Joyner. But I want to thank her for her service. She followed me in the House. I left the House, went to the Senate. She came to the House behind me in the district, and when I left the Senate, she came to the Senate behind me in the Senate, and became minority leader after I became minority leader. So we want to thank you for your service. We go back a long, 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 long way, and there's still more for you to do. And we appreciate all of your service that you've given to Hillsborough County, the state of Florida, and this country, because she was president of the National Bar Association, which is the predominantly African-American bar lawyers in this country, and the world, I take it, right? Yeah, yeah. So thank you very much for your service. Commissioner Smith, you recognize.
Thank you. Senator Arthenia Joyner, I'm so pleased to have you here today. You have been a real trailblazer in your career, and you've left a trail of shattered glass ceilings and broken color barriers in your wake that has paved the way for many people and for good policies to come behind you. We all are standing on your shoulders today. I greatly admire you for always having the courage of your conviction and for leading and serving the people with integrity. You're a great example. You lead by example, and I'm just really feel honored to have you here with us today.
Commissioner Merwin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Arthenia, we've known each other a long time. And so, but I've known you more as the outstanding public servant. You were always the one that stood up for the rights of people, no matter what. And whatever you broke is great, but what you stood up for was greater. And that's what I always have admired about you. We've worked on several issues together, but people still seek you out as the person they want. But as a woman, oh my gosh, you have just really taken women under your wing and you've promoted them. You've really encouraged women to seek the heights. And I just appreciate your friendship and everything you've done, not just for women, but for the whole state of Florida as a public servant. You were outstanding. And I just don't want anybody leaving here today without knowing what a fabulous leader she was in the whole legislature up in Tallahassee, and actually wish you were back up there.
Senator Joyner, when you hang that up, and you remember you used to babysit me, look at the first signature on that plaque, huh?
My babysitting paid off, and then I had to follow him. So, but I'm not following you this time.
Well, you still got time. I think you want your family. Yeah, have the family come up. Have the family. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Don't worry about it. Have the family come up, please. All the family and guests. Former aide.
You know, I'd be on the phone all day without your congratulations. Thank you so much. It's because of her.
Merrill, changes to the agenda.
Yes, Commissioners, we have a number of changes. We